Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So on today's tutorial, we're going to be drafting our basic skirt pattern. With this skirt pattern, you could use it to make like a whole lot of different type of skirts. So if you want to see how this went down, please stay tuned to the end of this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment, and of course subscribe and share. Here are some of things we use for this tutorial: a ruler, French curve, a marker, paper tape, and of course our pattern paper. So these are the measurements. So I'm just going to write down our measurements. So basically we're going to be doing half of our measurement and quarter also, and we'll write that down. I went ahead to zoom this closer so you can see what I'm doing. My waist is 26, my hip is 36, the hip depth, which is also the waist to hip, is 8, and my skirt length is 22. So I went ahead to do this the usual half and quarter. I added +2, which I got 20 for our seam allowance. Now I'm going ahead to measure our hip, half of our hip plus the 2 inches I added, which is our seam allowance, side seam allowance. So I'm just square that out and square that in, ensuring that I have an accurate measurement. So we're going to measure 1 inches from the edge of our paper, which is going to be our top line. And now basically I'm just splitting my 20 inches in half. So 1/2 is going to be our front skirt pattern, and the other half is going to be for the back skirt pattern. So now I'm basically marking out my 1 inch side seam allowance, which I added to the hip. I'm just extending that down. Extend that down. So now we're moving over to measure our 8 inches hip depth, which is our waist to hip. And once that's done, we're going over to measure our skirt length from our top line. And you rule that out. So now from the first edge of the paper, you're going to be taking your waist measurement, quarter of your waist measurement, and using your French curve to connect from your waistline to your hip line. So we're going to be doing the same on the other side of, that is our back part of our pattern paper. but this time around with a little twist, because we're going to be adding our darts to our back pattern. So I added 1 inch to the 6.5 inches, which is my quarter of my waist measurement, and just basically using the curve to extend that down. So now I'm going to look for the midpoint of the waist measurement, the quarter waist measurement, to get our midpoint of our darts. I don't know if you get that, but if you're watching the video, I'm sure it's self-explanatory. The length of our darts is 4 inches, while the width is 0.5 inches on both sides, which is 1 inches, which leaves us with the 1 inches we added on the waistline. So now from our center back, we're going to be taking in 0.5 inches and using our straight ruler to connect that down to our hip depth. So this is to avoid bulging at the back when you apply your zip. Yeah, and we're just going to extend that line so we could draw our 1 inch zip allowance. Move it straight down. And again, we're going to be doing the same 0.5 inches, yeah, and extend that down. Moving forward, we're basically going to take 1 inch from our waistline and connecting that down to our hip depth line, and that's basically our 1 inch allowance. Now we're having like so many lines, but don't worry guys, I'm going to fix this. So now we're doing the same thing on the front part of the pattern. So now in our center front, I went down by 0.5 inches and just basically using my curve to blend that down. This is because our front part of our tummy is not like straight, it's curvy. Anyways, on the bottom line of our skirt, I went down by 2 inches, which is going to be our hemming allowance. So guys, don't forget to subscribe, click on the dumbbell so you get notified when I post a new video, like, share, and of course comment. So guys, remember I told you we're going to fix the multiple lines we're seeing. So now we're going with a red marker to differentiate, so you could understand the actual line we're needing for this pattern. So the one I use like the red markers for are the lines we'll be needing. So the ones that still remain blue are the ones we really don't need, So now I have, labeled all my parts. We have our hip depth, side seam allowance, helmet allowance, zip allowance, our that, and that is our center front, our CF, which is on fold. So you guys stay tuned because I'm going to be posting another video which I'm showing how to cut and sew this pattern. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. See you in my next video.